Welcome to the first part of a two-part series where I'm going to be talking about why I've decided to join the Army. In this first part, we're going to be talking a bit more about my personal life as to who is El Outlaw, and just to give a bit of background as to who I am and give y'all a bit more information on who the hell y'all been watching. With that being said, my name is El Outlaw 1441. I'm not going to disclose my real name. I'm pretty sure it's popped up in a few videos here and there. If y'all find out about it, y'all find out about it, boo-hoo. It's not a big secret that I'm trying to hold near and dear to my heart. If y'all figure it out, y'all figure it out. If y'all don't, I'm not going to snitch on myself here either. So, with that being said, I was born in Mexico. I came to America and I stayed in this small little town since I've been 4 years old. I am now 24 years old. So I've been in this small town for 20 years. I'm not going to disclose what town because, first of all, people on the internet are weird as hell. And I don't want to give any publicity to this ghetto-ass town that I do not like one bit. Hate this town. Hate it with the passion. Hate the people in it as well, for the most part. Some people are pretty nice, but this town's pretty ghetto. I attended my elementary, middle school, and high school in this town. And right around the high school era, backtrack. Back when I was a little kid, I always used to like playing around with toy guns. I always pretended to shoot at my parents, and they would get mad because you're not supposed to aim guns at people. So at an early age, I learned trigger discipline and not to aim at something you're not willing to destroy. I was off to the right foot, right? So yeah, but back then when I was a little kid, you would always see me running around playing soldier, playing with my little soldier figurines, like from the Toy Story, those little soldiers. I would always have you'll see me running around with nothing but underwear on, but packed to the brim with weapons, in my underwear, stuffed down with grenades, knives, guns. I'd have a sword running down in between my ass cheeks, like Wonder Woman style, So I've always liked guns, and I've always been fascinated by the concept of war since a little kid. Something was wrong with me. I don't know. My parents couldn't figure it out either. So yeah, as I grew up, I more and more wanted to become Iron Man, sell weapons and manufacture weapons and become Iron Man, make an Iron Man suit. So I've always wanted to be a robotic engineer to do that. But in the back of my head, I always wanted to do something military based. I wanted to go do military. And so my parents, Mexican parents, they were always like, hell no. Mexican parents, they hear war, they hear army, and they think of war, World War I, World War II, Hiroshima, nuke bombs falling down and your skin melting, limbs flying off of you by being shot by a 9mm, or grenades being thrown and cars blowing up. They think of Rambo type shit, So Mexican parents, to this day, we still get, rubbed around the whole body with an egg for bad vibes and crap. So Mexican brujeria, I don't know what to tell you, but yeah, they always thought war is bad, war is not good for anyone, don't do war, So I should also mention, before we get ahead of ourselves here, I am the oldest son, So I have a younger sister who I beat by 3 to 4 years, and then I have a younger brother who I beat by 9 years. He's 15 years old, my sister's 20, and I'm 24, right? So, being the oldest, I tend to be the black sheep of the family. I tend to be the one that goes out and seeks chaos and then comes home and shows the family, look what I did, right? That's why I have tattoos all over me. At one point, I was blonde, literally blonde hair, blonde beard, except the eyebrows. And my parents were like, never dye your hair, that's gay. Which it is, but just to prove them wrong, I went out and did it. They didn't like motorcycles, so I bought myself a motorcycle. They didn't like guns, so I went out and bought guns. I don't know. It's my character. What can I say? It's just if I want to do something, if I have that curiosity, I wonder what it's like, I'm most likely going to end up doing it, So one of the biggest itches that I've had that I haven't been able to scratch was the Army. Because my parents were always like, no, no, no. And 3 no's, then that's affirmative. That's a definitely hell no, right? So around this time, the Army came to my high school, and little devious me went up to them and started talking to them, which is very weird for me to do because I'm very antisocial, which is weird because I'm on YouTube trying to make, fun content for y'all, and you're like, what, this guy's on antisocial? What? Doesn't make sense. I know, we're trying to make it out here. But yeah, so I went up to them and I was like, hey, like, I want to do this army thing, like, can I do it? And they're like, yeah, just take this practice ASVAB and come talk to us and all that stuff. So I signed up to do the practice ASVAB. They came back to our school one day. I took the test with them and I passed. And then once they started to get my information, I told them that I didn't have a social security number. And, kind of told them my backstory of like, oh, how I'm from Mexico and all that stuff. And like, well, you kind of need a social security number. So sorry, bud, get out of here before I call ICE. So I booked it out of there. And I was like, well, the army ain't for me. I can't do it. I don't got papers. And the only way to get papers is if I get married and have kids. And if I do that at that point, I don't want to go to the army and leave my family behind. So I was like, nah, it's not going to work out for me. So I didn't end up doing it that year, which was like a freshman year. And then they come back senior year. And it's a different group of recruiters, so I decided to try my luck again. So I'm like, hey, like I tried one time. They told me no because of my citizen status and all that stuff. They're like, oh, dude, like I don't know who you talk to, and I don't know why they told you that, but immigrants or like illegals come and join the army all the time, and then they get green cards or like they get residency and all that stuff. So you would have been able to do it. And by that time, the senior year, my parents already planned out my future for me. Like, oh, you're going to go to college. You're going to go learn this. You're going to go learn that and all that stuff. So I was like, well, darn. They already planned something out. They already paid for all this stuff. I can't do it now. Snaps, like it's not meant to be. This is God telling me you're not meant for this. Like just keep doing what you're doing, So I end up going to college for like a few months and I don't really quite like it a whole lot. And so I end up saying, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to leave. Deuces. My parents get mad. They're not happy about this. And so I go to work. I go work with them. I go work with them in the same company. And from there, we fast forward just a little bit to where I meet my wife. And then we have a kid. And fast forward even more, we have another kid. But recently, we went to go meet to Colorado, to Fort Carson, to one of my sister-in-law's houses, and her husband is in the military. He's a 12 November, so shout out to all the 12 Novembers out there. And he's actually the reason that I'm going to call y'all my battle buddies. That's going to be my subscriber's nickname because he got pretty offended the fact that I call him Battle Buddy because he was like, oh, like, you got to earn that, that name, like, we weren't deployed together and all this stuff. Like, it's an honorable name to call someone Battle Buddy and all this stuff. So, just to piss him off, just to get under his skin a little bit, y'all are now going to be my Battle Buddies, and I'm still going to call him Battle Buddy even though it triggers him just a little bit. You'll be all right, dude. If you're watching this, which I hope you're not because it's kind of weird. But if you are, you'll be fine. You'll live. And, yeah, so I was over there with him and we were kind of talking about, kind of like how the military life is and all that stuff. And like talking with him, kind of like, I don't know, that was like the breaking point, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. I think that's how it goes. And so I was like, I got to do this. I got to join the army. I want to do this. I'm loving it more and more and more. I've pushed it far enough. There's no reason for me not to join anymore, right? So then we come back home, and this was the toughest part. Like, before we get to the tough part, I went to go talk to a recruiter first. I told him, hey, like, I want to join the army and all that stuff. They're like, yeah, take the practice ASVAB. I took the practice ASVAB, got a 69, and they're like, well, you need a 30 to pass. So, dude, you're rocking it. You're killing it, like, the army needs you. So I'm like, great, but I have diabetes. He's like, army does not no longer need you. That's an instant disqualification. I'm like, damn it, so I can't fucking join. That's like the third time. That's God's third no. That's God telling me you're not meant for this. Stop trying it, right? And he's like, no. I'm not saying, you can't join. There's waivers for everything. If someone comes to a recruiter and says, or like if someone's ever told you that the recruiter said, oh, you can't join because of this, and that, like it's bullshit because there's waivers for everything. It's most likely the guy was just being a little snowflake and didn't want to join or just, got talked out of it or something. But yeah, like there's waivers for everything and anything. You got tattoos in your hand, there's a waiver for it. You got diabetes, there's a waiver for it. You do have to meet certain criterias, right? For example, me, I have to get my A1C under 5.7. I was currently at 11 and I checked it out recently and I'm at an 8.7. So I calculate 2 more months of healthy dieting, working out and all that stuff and prepping for the BCT. is going to help me get down to that 5.7 mark, which will then make me ready to, to go off to BCT and complete that portion of the Army and all that stuff. But with that being said, I kind of got like a game plan with the recruiter. Like, okay, these are the steps I need to take. That way I have something to go back to my family with and tell them, because this was the hardest part. This is the hardest part for me, is telling my family, hey, I'm going off to the Army. Reason being, like I mentioned, I have a sister and a brother. I didn't go to college. My sister did end up going to college. She's trying to make our parents proud, which she's a very smart young lady. I have no doubt about it, but she's going to college, but she always comes back home. She's the first one to go out and leave, but she always comes back home every weekend and all that stuff, And my family, we've always been close together, every day we see each other. We work together in the same place. We're 3 to 4 minutes away from each other, so we always go show them their grandkids and all that stuff. We're always conversating. We go to the same church. We're always seeing each other, and it's been like that since we got here. We've always been like that. Like all of my life, it's always been like that. Every day we see each other, So for me to be like, hey, I'm gonna break the cycle, or like, hey, like, guess what? You know how I got tattoos? You know how I dyed my hair? You know how I got a motorcycle? You know how I got a gun? Well, guess what? I'm joining the Army too now. And it's gonna break the family chain of like seeing each other and all that stuff. So it was a scary step. It was a scary conversation to have, because they've always been like, no, no, no. And God's been on their side for the most part, saying, I agree with your parents, no, no, no. I should mention I have a mom and a dad, because, we're a Mexican household, so we tend to have both. We're not a person of color. It's a joke, snowflakes. It's a joke. Chill out. Anyways, so my dad, I've always looked up to him. He's always been my idol, and everyone who knows me knows this, that I look up to my dad. He is the word alpha for me. He is the definition of alpha, My dad, he always goes out, he provides for the family. I've literally seen him get in people's face when, they try to cross the line with him or cross the line with us. Like, hey, you better calm the fuck down before I beat the shit out of you, He's never backed down from anyone. I've seen him go up against people who are, more ripped, more bigger than him. He does not care. He's that guy that if you're doing something wrong, he's going to go tell you you're doing something wrong. He's not going to hold it in. If something bothers him, he's going to say, hey, this bothers me, don't do this, and stuff like that. And it's helped him in work. It's helped him in life. He's just a great man all around. He's very nice. He's very patient. But when it comes to these type of topics, he always puts that I'm listening to you serious face, So that's the face I hate. It's like anytime, I would be talking to my dad, he'd be laughing. We'd be talking and the moment he hears, Dad, I need to talk to you. Serious. And that's the oh shit, I wasn't even going to tell you anything bad, but now I'm all of a sudden fucking scared. So so coming home with bad news, I was like, fuck, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Yes, I'm 24 years old. Yes, I have my own family and all that stuff. But again, we've always been together. Everybody shares their opinion about everything, and we always listen to each other and each other's thoughts and all that stuff. So I was shitting my pants. Despite being a big dude, despite being manly looking and handsome and all that stuff, I was shitting my pants. I was like, oh boy, this is going to suck. But surprisingly, no. Surprisingly, the conversation went very well. It went something kind of like this. Hey, Dad, Mom, sister, brother, I'm going to join the Army. Okay, really? We've told you not to get tattoos. You got tattoos. We've told you not to dye your hair. You've dyed your hair. You bought a motorcycle when we told you not to. You've gotten guns when we told you not to. At this point, we kind of expected you to kind of come out with something like this. You tend to do your own thing, but if it makes you happy, we'll support you. Thank you. So now that I got my family's approval, which was a very big thing for me, I was like, nice. Let's do this, So so far everything's gone great. Everything's going according to plan. I know a lot of people tend to join the Army for financial reasons, or a lot of people think, people who can't afford college go to the Army, or people who are down bad, who are poor and all that crap, go to the Army so that they can become the government property and the government will take care of them and all that stuff. And that's simply not the case, because like I mentioned, me and my family, we work in the same place. What I haven't mentioned is, and I know a lot of y'all are going to be like, oh, he's joining the military for financial reasons. This broke boy here needs some government help, and he's going to sell his soul to the USA so he can live comfortably. Well, no. I mean, as y'all can see in the background here, this is where I work at. And I know in the past I've mentioned my boss, who so happens to be my dad. That's right. He is the Darth Vader and I am Luke Skywalker. He is my father and pretty much, yeah, so I work for the family company. This is one of the few companies that we have. This here is a pallet company. We also have RV parks, RV resorts, apartments, and a whole bunch of real estate. We also have a recycling business where we pretty much filter out, well, we go to plants and we filter out their trash, you know, to maximize the recycling and minimize the amount of waste that goes to landfill. We also have a consultation business where we go and talk with companies and pretty much to see what their problems are and see what type of solutions or systems we can implement to maximize, I don't know, their production line or to maximize their profits. Add systems that will pretty much help them or solve any of the problems that they might have and such things like that. And then y'all might say like, oh, well then the businesses are failing or they're not doing so hot. Nope, wrong again. This here is my parents' house. They're currently building it out right now. Should be another year or so before it's done and all that stuff. And then I have a few acres here where one day I'm gonna get to build my house. And then my brother and sister also have a few acres of their own where they get to build their house one day as well. So no, guys, we're not on financial ruins. It's not for a financial reason. It's really not that hard of an idea to grasp. The only reason I'm joining the military is for the simple fact that I just want to join the military, okay? Like, the business life is great and I enjoy the business, and businesses are always gonna be a thing that are always gonna exist, right? So before the rest of my life is, you know, being financially free and, you know, having my own free time and spending time with my family whenever I want to and enjoying the luxury of life, you know, I first want to go do something that does have an expiration date, you know. Someday too soon, I might be too old to join the military, or it might be harder for me to be able to join. So I'd rather go in there, maybe do one contract, do two contracts, maybe do, you know, like 8 years to 12 years in the military, and then just get out and then continue on with the family crescent, with the family business. You know, it's always going to be around, hopefully, you know, first God. But, and if it's not, or if that doesn't work out for me, you know, start my own business or just simply have military as the rest of my career, you know, it be the rest of my life. You know, I just don't want to, you know, live life thinking of like, oh, what could have been or what should have been, you know, like I want to go try it out. I want to see how good it is. I want to see if I enjoy it, which I think personally I will enjoy it. You know, and if I see that it's a good thing for me and it's pretty fun and I'm, you know, having a good time, then it might be something I do for a while, or if not for the rest of my life, you know, but it's something I want to do, you know. I'm the type of guy that if he wants to do something, he's going to do his best to try to do it, you know. So, you know, like, yeah, money is great. Yeah, having, you know, free time, being, you know, your own owner, you know, where you get to decide when you go to work, when you leave and all that stuff. It's great and all that. But, you know, sometimes you want more, you know, sometimes out in life, you want something different, and that's fine. Completely normal. So, yeah, I simply just want to join the military. That's just a little bit more information about me. It's not a whole bunch. It's just kind of like the basic information y'all need to know as to what built up to get to this point to, you know, decide, you know, I'm going to the Army, you know. One of the points I didn't touch on is that I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think this is like the toughest, or like this is the manliest job a man can have, right? Is to go out and protect your country, to serve your country, you know? Like, yeah, anybody can get in a brawl, anybody can get in a fist fight, anyone can go out in the street and get into a street fight and win and lose or whatever you want, right? Anyone can go to the gym and get ripped and get big and all that stuff and claim that they're a badass, you know? Anyone can go buy a gun and go to the gun range and shoot it a whole bunch or show it off in their music videos and all this shit, holding it sideways and all that crap. Anyone can do that crap. Very few people have the balls to go to the Army and to go through BCT, AIT, and then go do a 4-year contract and then try to stay there, you know, or grow in that career and all that stuff, you know. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. It's not going to be easy, and I know that, but I'm excited for it. I'm more excited than nervous. You know, I'm going in there with the mentality that I'm going to outwork everyone that's in there, you know, and that's the same mentality I'm going to take to my MOS, you know. It's easy talking about it right now, but I'm going to bring you along the way. I mean, y'all are my battle buddies now, right? So, you know, y'all are my battle buddies. Y'all are going to be coming alongside with me through all these steps, through all these phases and all that. So, y'all are gonna see, and we're gonna struggle through it. There's gonna be hard times, but I'm gonna give it my all. There are gonna be days where I'm gonna be down and all that stuff, but just like my dad, I'm gonna push through it. My dad's never complained a day in his life about work. I've seen him go a whole day without eating and still perform at his 100%. So that's the exact same mentality I'm gonna be bringing to the Army to further my career in the Army if possible, and just do the best that I can. But yeah, so back to the whole thing. I think it's the manliest job, I think it's like very few people actually go through with it and make it through with it and do good through it. Like some people half-ass it, they make it through, they half-ass their first contract, and then they get out in the first 4 years. So I'm not going to try to be like that. Some people never even get to join the Army. Some people say, oh yeah, I tried to, or the wannabes, or I almost joined the Army, think you're welcome for my service and all that shit. I don't want to be one of those guys. For a while, I was one of those guys that was like, oh, I almost joined. But no, I'm finally going to get to go through with it. I'm finally going to go and try it out. I'm going to, bust my ass to do it and all this stuff. I'm doing a lot of training in the back and behind the scenes, and trying to prep for their tests and all that stuff. I posted a few shorts and all that on my channel, and I'm planning on making a few videos to see if there's any progress and all that stuff. But that's besides the point, Like, I think, as a man, this is one of the best callings you can do, is go serve your country, go fight for what you believe in and all that stuff. Sadly, even if in the country there's a lot of disagreements, there's a lot of people who don't support the military or who are against authority or things of that nature. It sucks, but we do it for those who do appreciate it. Those are the people who we focus on trying to do it for. So LGBTQ, quit y'all shit. Appreciate us. Or appreciate the Army for now, because it's not us until I'm in there. But appreciate them. Stop being dicks and assholes and pretending to be things you're not. But anyways, that's besides the point. That's going to conclude today's video. That's just a little bit of information about me, as to just a little bit. I didn't go a whole deep into it. If y'all want to know more about me, leave questions down below. I can make shorts. That way it's not a long format video or anything like that. But yeah, if you want to have any questions about my personal life or stuff like that, leave a comment down below. If you want to know or are interested in these type of videos, please subscribe. If you know someone who's also interested in these type of videos, please share. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That is our current goal. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Stay tuned for part 2, because we will be talking more about the MOS that I'm going to be doing and kind of my plans and phases that I'm kind of seeing through the Army as to how I'm going to get in, what I'm expecting out of it, what I'm going to do for my MOS, how I'm going to progress in that career and all that stuff. We're going to go a bit more in depth as to actually the military life and kind of what I have envisioned for it. But with that being said, guys, hopefully y'all did enjoy the video, and I'll see y'all on the next one.